All right, well, this is pretty cool that we get to be in person. I coach people. I've got a client in Argentina. I've got Texas and Washington State, all over this place. And so to have a client here locally that we can get together and do this interview in person is pretty cool. So this is Zach, and Zach has been doing my program now for the past few months,
That's right.
maybe 3 or 4 months, and you had some great results.
Yeah.
So I'd just like for you to kind of share who you are, what you do, and how the fitness program has kind of changed, maybe changed your life or the way that you think about fitness.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. My name's Zach. I am 29 years old. I own a full service marketing company here in Raleigh called Forward Agency and married to an incredible girl and about 2 months away from becoming a dad.
Yeah, that's pretty
So,
awesome. Pretty awesome.
as far as fitness goes, this program as a whole has been really awesome. It's been great for me, my life, my confidence. I think as I started the business about 2 years ago, I got in a rut of just telling everybody, this is a busy season right now. This is a busy season. Once I get out of this, I'll do X, Y, and Z. And I think when we knew that our first child was on the way, I knew that the excuses I had for myself were only going to grow. So it was kind of that moment where it's either I get in the habit of going now and following a meal plan and kind of changing how my lifestyle is now, or I'm just going to have a million excuses and keep kicking the can sort of down the road. So
Right. I know how it is. I know how it is. So, what were your biggest challenges leading up to the program? I mean, I know you had a baby on the way. I know that was on your mind, and I'm sure you had conversations with your wife about like life is changing, right?
yeah.
So, what were the biggest challenges? What were those conversations like?
I think discipline and consistency was probably my two biggest things. Being in college and getting to work out with my friends every day. But then when your wife's pregnant, not going to the gym, you're at home. I just feel like it's really hard to push yourself and make yourself be the one to go. So I think that level of accountability that having a coach brings has been huge for me. Um, but I would work out maybe 1 or 2 days a week here and there, or I would get on these sort of kicks where I would get ultra motivated and ready to go and, would go for a run and go work out and stick to it for a couple weeks. But ultimately, when that motivation isn't there anymore, you have to have something else that's driving you and some other level of accountability to keep you in.
Right. Yeah. I talk a lot about the fact that motivation is a feeling and feelings come and go, that discipline is greater than
Yeah.
motivation. And how did the program help with consistency and discipline?
Honestly, I mean, I think the program's great I think you do a really good job of meeting people exactly where they're at. So, I saw the transformation you had years ago when we met and we'd been friends for a long time. And I was working out a bit more then. But I saw the incredible transformation that you had had. But I feel like you're extremely approachable and you're able to meet people where they're at. And with me, you knew that I knew a little bit. I had a base level understanding about, tracking macros and that sort of thing. So I think for me personally, the biggest benefit to the program that I saw was the level of accountability that you bring. I think you do it in a really good way, but it's almost like that sort of brotherhood of, hey, I know you're going to be looking at the meals that I enter in every day. I know you're going to see a notification come through when I complete that workout you had planned for me today. So it's that like, it gives me when that little voice in the back of my head is telling me like, this one meal isn't going to hurt anything, or skipping one day won't make that much of a difference. In the back of my head, I'm like, well, don't want Tim to call me out, so I better go.
I mean, it's true of all of us, right?
Yeah,
When we make commitments to ourselves or to other people, but there's no accountability
yeah.
surrounding it, it's super easy to fall prey to getting back into the same ruts and not moving forward.
Mhm.
And so many people think I can do it on my own.
Yeah,
And a program like this allows somebody to really do it on their own, but with the accountability of somebody that's gonna check in on
That's
them.
right. Yeah.
And so, I think that's one of the greatest values of a program like this. It's what changed my life
Yeah.
7 years ago. It changed my life when I finally decided I was gonna have somebody else hold me accountable
Mhm.
instead of me trying to do it on my own.
Mhm.
So, tell me, how would you describe your situation now, fitness-wise, and your discipline, motivation now, as opposed to maybe the way it was 6 months ago?
Yeah, I would just say, 6 months ago before we started working together, I felt kind of the stress just sort of overwhelming me, and I was using that as the excuse of, why I couldn't work out in that moment. And when I found myself continually going back to that, I'm in a busy season right now. I had some mentors and guys come around me just to say, like, life isn't going to get any less
Mhm,
busy than it is now. Like, you don't have kids yet. You're
mhm,
about to, but it's like it's only going to continue to get more and more busy from this point. So I was allowing the stresses of life to be the reason why I can't. And I feel like after kind of making myself get in the routine and the habit of going, now it's almost the stresses of life are almost the reasons that I have to go.
right.
I just feel so much more, energy at home when I come home after a long day. I would say the mental clarity I have just at work and being around my team and it's just helped me in several walks of life outside of just the extra, confidence that I have and the strength that I'm building back in the gym. So yeah.
It's been, I think it's been about almost 4 months that we
Hmm.
started working together. Um, how long was it for you? I think I remember, but how long was it for you before you actually started to feel like there was momentum?
Yeah.
For guys that are kind of expecting, like, they're gonna get into a program and 4 weeks later, they're gonna be, like, right where they wanna be,
Yeah.
that's kind of an unrealistic expectation. How would you give expectation to other dads who are busy? I'm talking about professional dads who are, own their own companies like
Yeah.
you, have maybe several children,
Hmm.
are in the same, time of life as you, if not maybe even a couple decades older,
Yeah.
and have all of those pressures. Can you kind of talk to them about what's the expectation of the program like this?
I just think a lot of people, again, going back to the excuses you make for yourself of why you can't go, I think, or why you can't follow a meal plan and things like that. And I think we make it too complicated and like it needs to be an all or nothing thing all the time. And I think the little wins every day add up. And that's one of the things I'd say. I mean, for myself, I started to see, subtle changes in the way I was looking in the mirror and that kind of thing a month or two in. My wife started to see things. But, I would say I definitely would not say I've been the most disciplined even this entire program. My wife and I went on several trips throughout this, completely went off the rails on some of those. But I think
Which
it's
is okay.
which is okay, sure. I'm harder on myself than Tim is, but I think the biggest thing is to knowing that I think just getting back on it as soon as you're back and knowing that this is a long-term game. It's not a let me go on a diet, but this is like truly the new lifestyle that I'm
Right.
going to sort of adapt for my life. So I think again, getting all fired up and spending hours in the gym isn't going to do much, but just the making the effort to go week in and week out and making the effort to, you know, um, I guess plan ahead when it comes to your meals and that kind of thing instead of thinking in your mind, I'm on a diet for this set of time or I'm going to cheat on my diet. It's like, no, this is a new lifestyle.
Right. Yeah. And for men that I'm talking to, and really that I'm giving my offer to get into a program like this, my the preach that I'm giving is that this is sustainable. We're
Yeah.
not talking about an all or nothing, as you mentioned it. We're not talking about it being something that's a fad diet.
Hmm.
This is getting away from the idea of eating to feed myself, but rather eating to fuel my body. And fuel for the body to be able to do the things that I need to do to accomplish the things that need to get done, but to have the to show up as the best me for the people that are counting on me.
That's right.
And so the hope for each person that gets into the program, like for you, is to find it as a sustainable program and plan that's not super strict eating. You got to give up all the things that you love, but it is a sustainable program that you can fit into your everyday life and not a diet, but a lifestyle, which is
Yeah.
what you just mentioned. So finally, let me just ask you, if there's a dad, a man out there who is in your same scenario and you're talking to you, somebody else, what advice would you give them if they're on the fence about, should I do this? It's an investment for me. How should they take those next steps?
I would just say, what do you have to lose? Give yourself 6 months, try it out. I know for myself personally, every year setting New Year's resolutions didn't ever work.
Mm,
Telling yourself you're gonna stick to it this time didn't ever work, or telling people around you. Um, I think having that again, that extra layer of accountability is the most important thing. So I would give yourself, a timeline. Give yourself 4 months. Give yourself 6 months, and just try it. And I truly think something that you do really well as well is try to get feedback for yourself each
mm,
week, and you're always looking out for us as you're coaching us through and like, well, how can I make it easier on you, and how can we find something else that works? So if you have a busy schedule at night and you can't make it to the gym, well, how do we set it up to where you're going to the gym early in the morning, or how are we meal prepping your meals? Like, you try to make it as approachable and as simple as you possibly can. And I just think it's a long-term play, so don't try to figure it all out in 2.5 months. Give yourself 4 to 6 months and stick to it. I think you're going to be impressed with the results.
yeah, awesome. I appreciate that. I think the consistency is the key, and really just having the heart of discipline, knowing that there's gonna be good days, bad days. That's the whole idea behind Dad Tough, right?
Yeah,
It's the toughness that you move forward and you keep pushing ahead even when it's not easy,
that's
right?
right.
And so consistency is the key, discipline is the key, and we just keep pushing forward, plowing ahead, step after step. But in those small steps and those tiny tweaks that you make every day, tracking your food and getting to the gym, you begin to see those changes. And like you said, 2, 3 months later, you begin to see that momentum
Yep.
and you start to see it, not only see it in your body, but you feel it.
Hmm.
And it changes the momentum of your day, and you're happier about yourself, more confidence.
That's
So,
right. Yeah, and the little before and after photos we upload to the app each week,
right.
you're really good about sending them over to me and saying like, "Man, look at this." Like,
Mhm.
I can clearly see changes, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's right. I do look a little bit better now." And I'm
Right.
seeing those changes. And then in the gym, you're able to see, kind of shadowed in, what did you lift this past week, and seeing those climb up. It's just that extra little motivation to push yourself.
They're stepping into a brand new season of fatherhood.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you for your body, your fitness, caring for yourself, and stewarding your life for you to be that example for your child?
Yeah. Man, yeah, I got a little girl coming on the way, and I think knowing that I am going to be a dad, I want her to be able to look up to me, and as she grows up, I want to be able to be the same way my parents were with me, and always being able to get out there and play sports with me, and not have parents that are dealing with things with their health and kind of let themselves go. I want to make sure I'm always there for her and in the best shape that I can be. And one more funny thing I'll add is, this is something my wife said to me that really kind of fired me up. And it was right before I found out you were doing Dad Tough, and we were expecting, a lot of our other friends had just had their first kid too. And you see all the photos of them in the hospital, and they're doing skin on skin and all that, with the child. And she said, "Hey, like, you're gonna have to do skin on skin in the hospital. And like, so if those photos I take, if you don't want to have a little pudgy gut, now's your time."
Oh, that's
And
great.
no husband could ever say that
All right,
to their wife,
exactly.
but that was enough to be like, it kinda, I was
Right.
like, "I think she's right," but
Yep.
I didn't wanna admit to it, and then I was like, "All right, you know what? Now's the time."
Right.
So,
Right. Well,
yeah,
I'm super proud of your results
yeah,
and your resolve to make this happen,
that's
and
right.
clearly seeing it results from the program.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
proud of you.
sent it to a bunch of my friends. They were telling me they see it in my face, and I
Right,
don't see that at all. But
right,
when you start looking at the before and after photos, it's like,
right.
okay, let's go. So
Yeah. Well, keep it up. You're doing a great job.
cool. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.